We turn now to Your Voice, Your Vote, the race for 2016. We are in Iowa tonight with former Florida Governor Jeb Bush. Our moment in the country store with him today in the car. Also, what he said, the common hurdle that both he and Hillary Clinton face, and what Jeb Bush revealed to me about his very private wife. Mr. Bush.
How you doing?
Fancy meeting you in Iowa.
Yeah.
And so it officially begins. One country store, one person at a time.
What are you doing in here?
I'm campaigning for President of the United States.
This just in. The governor telling me he ran out of shaving cream 509 days before Election Day.
Oh, there it is. Bless you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Now you're all set.
35 years after you were working the phones here for your father, and look at what we found. A little.
Uh-oh, that was me.
What would you say to that guy?
I would say that was one of the greatest experiences of giving back to a father who loved me unconditionally when I was a kid.
And so as you embark on this 509 days out, how easy is this going to be for someone who describes himself as an introvert?
I don't know if because I'm introverted or not. I'm a grinder. I'm really competitive. I'm really focused. I'm very disciplined. But it takes a lot of effort for someone who's introverted, and I admit I am.
It's interesting. Our current president takes a lot of heat for being insular and not having a beer, say, with members of the opposite party. Having a beer with members of the other side doesn't sound like something an introvert would enjoy either.
But it's work. It's required. That's not the president's forte.
I want to ask about your brother, President George W. Bush. You have said, I have to do the Heisman on my brother that I love, that this is not something I'm comfortable doing.
Yeah. There's a real fascination about where I'm different, where I'm the same. But, you know, when you love someone as your brother or your dad, it's not easy for me to say, just kind of throw him under the bus to make myself look better. I just can't do it.
He has said he will campaign for you. Will you ask him to?
He's been helpful already. He's helped in gatherings where it wasn't inconvenient for him.
So he'll be out there in the battleground states with you?
I don't know. I don't know yet. We just started.
Let's switch, if we could, to the mood of the country, because your mother, Barbara Bush, famously said that there have been enough Bushes in the White House. She's come around on that, changed her mind. But she did say something that a lot of Americans, quite frankly, are saying to themselves, which is, you know, a Bush or a Clinton, isn't there anyone else out there? And I'm curious, when you hear that, do you understand where people are coming from?
Absolutely, I do. I'm totally self-aware and understand that that I have a challenge, and I intend to overcome it by sharing my life story.
Let's talk immigration. Your kickoff speech this week, we saw the hecklers spelling out legal status is not enough. You have said along the way you would be open to the idea of a path to citizenship, more recently legal status. So as we sit here today in Iowa, where do you stand?
I think we ought to have a path to legal status. And the kids that were protesting, frankly, I think they ought to have a path to citizenship. DREAM Act kids that are here, you know, because their parents came, they had no control over it. There ought to be some recognition that we're not going to send them back to a country they know nothing about.
So a path to citizenship for them?
Absolutely.
And not their parents?
Not their parents.
On Iraq, President Obama just authorized an additional 450 American troops being sent to Iraq. Would you send them?
We need a strategy in Iraq. This president has admitted twice now in the last year that he doesn't have a strategy, yet he is kind of sending troops without a strategy.
Some of your Republican opponents right now in the primary have weighed in. Scott Walker doesn't rule out boots on the ground. Lindsey Graham suggesting 10,000 ground troops. Can you rule out boots on the ground?
No, I think we have boots on the ground already.
The Supreme Court set to rule on same-sex marriage any day now. I'm curious what you hope the court decides.
I hope that they decide that the state should make this decision.
A lot of people think that this issue in particular is a generational issue. And we saw your parents, we saw your father as a witness to a same-sex marriage in Maine. And I'm curious, would you witness a same-sex marriage if you were asked?
Sure, I would. I would. If they were friends and I cared for them, of course I would.
Your wife, Columba.
Yeah.
We saw the tweet not long ago. Happy anniversary to my wife of 41 years. We have read how private your wife is, and I'm curious what she said to you this time that you knew that this was the time to run.
She told me something. She told a friend, and then she told me that not allowing me to pursue this mission would be like telling a musician you can't play music, which I thought was so typical of my wife, the way she expresses herself.
In the car, driving me through Iowa, I asked the governor about his cherished Sundays with his grandchildren. How many of those Sundays are you going to have to put aside?
I'm pretty serious about maintaining Sunday as the afternoon for my grandkids, which is really important to me. So I can campaign really hard for 6 days and take a day off for a while.
Determined to keep those Sunday fun days, as the Jeb Bush family calls them on Sundays. And we'll have much more with Jeb Bush tonight on Nightline and tomorrow on Good Morning America. Jeb Bush's son, on the Thanksgiving meeting they all had, the heart-to-heart with the family they had with both mom and dad before the big decision.